for the giraffes, right? Oh god. So when they first built it, they didn't have like, you know, the safety fence built up across. All they had was like this pretty much taped red line where it was like a boundary line, like, you know, you can't get closer, you know, don't try and pet the giraffes. If you want to take a picture, you do it, you know, in front of that red line. But when you're attending it, you know, you have 2 or 3 people who are attending the viewing deck because it gets pretty busy. You know, a lot of people, I guess, want to see a giraffe. I mean, I certainly did before I saw one. And yeah, so, you know, your hands are always full. You're trying to keep kids back behind the red line, you know, make sure that they're not getting, you know, hit in the head by the giraffe. And yeah, so I'm standing there and I'm like talking to this one kid, you know, just, I don't remember exactly what we were talking about, but we were just kind of talking. And I didn't realize it, but, you know, I was right behind the red line, like just like a foot inside the red line. I'm like, oh, whatever. So I'm sitting there talking to the kid, and next thing I know, I just feel this big, like, pound, boom. I'm like, oh, like, because what happens is, like, if you go and try and, like, touch the giraffe, right, they don't like it. So what they do is, like, they whip their head, like, really quick. They whip back to, like, pull away. But, like, they've got really hard heads. Like, they've got, like, I don't remember what they're called, but they're, like, pretty much like little horns. Like, and, like, they're hard. And it crushed me. You know, it managed to only, like, nick my arm, but it gave me a good bruise. Like, I felt it. You definitely don't want to take one of those off the noggin. You would definitely be conked right out. You would have a conky. A bad one, too. If not dead. I'm not gonna lie, it couldn't even kill you. I didn't mean to enter the personal space. I didn't mean to do it. I was distracted. The sound they make when they fight is brutal. I've actually never heard the sound. The giraffes at the zoo there, they at least not that I ever saw, they never fought, so yeah. Giraffe tongue, yeah, that's it's interesting. They got some long tongues, and they feel weird, you know, like when you go out to like feed them and you put your hand out. Oh, it's a weird feeling. It's kind of cool though. They also had these rhinos, which were absolutely massive. And like, the one year I'm on the grounds crew, so like, you know, me and this one guy were doing all the gardens, and you know, they've got a garden, a big fat garden right outside the rhino exhibit, but pretty much what they have as the barrier is they've got this, like, I don't know, I'm assuming it's an electric fence that's going around the perimeter, but then they've got like this moat that they've dug around it, right? So it doesn't have direct access to the viewing platform or the garden or anything. But, you know, like, if it got pissed off enough, like, it could definitely make it, for sure. Like, no doubt in my mind. So, whatever. Keep in mind, this guy that I'm working with has worked there for quite a few years already. So, you know, he's got experience. So we're getting up to the rhino exhibit, and he goes, he's like, yeah, like, you know, if he starts like looking at us and starts like pacing back and forth, looking like he's kind of getting aggressive, he's like, we gotta go. He's like, just stop and like, we gotta go. I'm like, I kind of just laughed at him at first, right? Like, I'm just like, oh yeah, like, that's funny. And then he's like, I'm not joking. He's like, we'll actually, like, we gotta go. I'm like, okay, like, fuck. Like, now I'm a little bit nervous, right? So like, as I'm trying to like weed this garden and like throw mulch down, I'm like looking up, like, just like keeping my eye on this rhino, making sure, like, you know, he's not paying too much attention. But yeah, needless to say, we got up and out of there real quick. We got that job done.
Is it Zoo Stories?
Yeah, Zoo Stories, yeah. It was nuts. Crazy shit. But you know what? Like, I can't lie. Like, it was probably the ideal summer job. Like, you know, you have a bunch of students working there, so you know, I had many of my friends were working with me. Just the atmosphere was great, and it wasn't too like physically demanding. You know, you didn't really have to think too hard. Your shifts were pretty good. I think the longest shift you'd have is like 10 hours max, but for the most part, you're working like around 8 hours. I'd say 9 or 8 hours. And yeah, like, you know, you can't really ask for much more as a high school kid. You know, just getting by for the summer. You know, it's definitely a good gig. Plus, you get to see animals all day, so that was pretty cool. Pretty cool. Mom, I heard you're gonna order a pizza.
No.
Mom, I heard I'm gonna order a pizza.
Yeah, probably.
I know. I think.
Just, can you please wrap yourself in your pizza blanket? Please?
Right now?
Yeah. Have your
Alright.
pizza. There you go.